DG, is it there? And especially NSFAS, DDG Sokuku. There are a number of issues that AG has raised. And from where I'm seated, we're still going to have problems with NSFAS, with what I'm seeing here. I mean, when the AG says the indicators are not well defined at NSFAS, what does it mean? It means NSFAS will say, as an example, I am going to fund 600,000 university students. But there will be no strict indicator that will say, this is how I'm going to prove that I funded these people. They will probably say that, DG, I will wait for a university to give me I don't know what in order for me to prove. And that is what the reason why we have the 2017 to 2022 closeout project is precisely because that the internal controls of NSFAS, they will just give money to a university and they don't even know whether they, at the end of the year, they owe or are owed by that university. That is why we have this SIU closeout project, for an example. So how, this one is a sore pain to me, because on a daily basis, we get, all these members, they get many queries from students saying, I'm funded. I'm told I'm funded. But I've never received an allowance for the whole year. It's June now, I'm writing exams. I've never received any allowance. I was never given or allocated the residence. A lot of problems. And when AG goes and says, let's put these smart principles, this is so that we are able to measure, NSFAS should be about impact. What impact are you making to poor people out there? Are you taking them off the streets or putting them at universities? So when I look at this, the misalignment between SP and APP, NSFAS claims to have a relationship with other parties as public-private partnerships. But when AG checks, there's no PPP there. The relationship does not meet the definition. Because triple Ps are defined by National Treasury. They tell you, this is what a triple P is. Mare ronar ki triple P. We are just paying people. People giving people money. They are consultants. I'm very worried, DG, about NSFAS. I am extremely worried. Something ought to give at NSFAS. In fact, we were trying, just that this period of budgets could not allow us, but we were trying to bring NSFAS again now, because it can't be that, we get so many, even, I'm sure these people, they now have our numbers. They now know our numbers by head. Accommodation providers. The number of emails and calls and WhatsApps that we get from them, it's just scary across the country. Others have not paid since. Students were writing exams, DG, without Wi-Fi, because these accommodation providers could no longer afford to pay Wi-Fi. They owe municipalities hundreds of thousands of rands in water and electricity. Some of these students were writing exams without electricity at their accommodation. And they understand it's not the accommodation provider's fault. It's because they've not been paid from last year. So it's as if there's a deliberate attempt. And we raised it when NSFAS was here because we were a bit worried that NSFAS seems to want to say everything else must go back to universities. They don't want to do anything with paying accommodation providers. And we warned them in that meeting. We said, we are going to have a problem because we are going to have, and I'm glad the regional manager of Gauteng and Free State is here, of the TVET. He's also a principal of Letaba TVET. Letaba TVET is one of the TVET colleges that were putting our kids in shacks. And we could not blame NSFAS because they were not playing a role. Now, the leadership, the new leadership of NSFAS are saying that they must go back to that stage. And we've told them in the meeting here, they were seated somewhere, we told them we don't agree with them. Because throwing the problem away from yourselves to universities is not going to solve it. You are going to go back to another problem that was already identified. And if you listen to the tone of these accommodation providers, they are saying those who are accredited by universities are being paid. And those who are accredited by NSFAS, they are not being paid. So what is being done here, deliberately, DG, is to say the useful process is when you are paid by university and not by NSFAS. And I can tell you it's done deliberately. These people, they meet with the top leadership of NS. They write to them. They include us on their emails. They promise, on this day, 30 May, we're paying. These people go and make arrangement with their debtors. The Bangor Bank, my man, don't take this bus, this minibus taxi that I'm using to transport these kids to campus. Yes, NSFAS says it's going to be. On the 30th, when it comes, they don't pay. Throws this poor person right under a train, not even a bus. How train? So we are very worried about NSFAS. We are extremely worried. The things that are happening there at NSFAS they are not sitting well with us. They punish students. Students have submitted everything they are registered at an institution. The communication between an institution and NSFAS does not happen the way it should. And the student is being punished. They tell a student, you are not going to be funded this year because the date has passed where the university or institution was supposed to give us your registration. These kids, they've registered. There's nothing that they've not done. It's not their fault. But the letter comes from NSFAS and say, we're not funding you this year. We're worried about what is happening at that institution. It looks like a coordinated effort to collapse that. And I've said it before. That thing means more than anything to us. So, many of us here will not have seen the doors of learning and culture if it was not because of that institution. It has produced over 5 million poor people or graduates from there at universities alone, and more if you include TVET. We're not going to sit back and allow it to be dragged to the ground. So we want you guys as the department, and we told the board there, when the board chair, we said, we will not accuse you of meddling issues there. But when we ask you at any given time, we want you to tell us how far are things there. And I don't think that is happening. Like I said, I'm very worried. We met with them about 2 months or so ago. I can tell you things have not improved. It is worrying. These kids now, the students, they've written exams. Many of them might not have done well. Because the assumption you must have is that if you don't give this student money for allowances, they don't have anything to eat. That's the assumption you have. Because your system says they come from a SASA family, they don't have anything. So the whole 6 months they've not eaten. That's the assumption you have. So they went to exams, being stressed, having not eaten, having written tests, hungry, or even these exams they are writing, they're hungry. And then when they don't do well, you come in with this N+ rule. Some of them decides DDG in May that I won't be able to pass this exam, so I'm deregistering. They deregister to stay at home. And then the following year, when you say, no, I'm not funding you because you have exceeded your N+ rule. So NSFAS worries me. I mean, I don't know how many students have written to me, they've written to these members about these problems. And these members, those are their bosses. All of us here, they must give answers. We send these things to NSFAS. Then NSFAS decide not to even respond to these members. What does it mean? It means these members, they are useless to their constituencies. And that is a deliberate, and not something we're not going to agree to. When you look at the comments here, misalignment, almost sounded like Benny Payne, mismanagement. No, order sustained. It was on a lighter note. NSF, same story. DG, serious problems. So I will not go into details, but serious problems. So let's please DG, let's put our hands on pulse, because the consequences of us not doing it, it's major. If you have not given this child, this student, who's a boy, their allowances, some of them, they try and batabalaza, try and survive. And in them trying to survive, some of them, they are killed. Maybe they try robbery, pickpocketing somebody, because they just need money for bread. They try there, they get stabbed, they get arrested. It's bad. And if they are females, many of them with very good moral fiber, they end up giving in to these cheese boys and sugar daddies on campus who are asking them out. Because this cheese boy or sugar daddy has got money to afford to give, I'll give you, to afford to give this child grocery money. They end up giving in. And then, because these old people with a big stomach like mine, many of them, they don't have moral fiber. Even when they go to these kids with an intention just to sleep with them, give them money, some of them are not even, they're sick. They infect these young kids with a number of STIs. Some of them impregnate these young girls and leave them, creating more problems for these young kids. So this thing, when we don't give these children their allowances, it's bad. And I want us to put our hands at DG, at NSFAS, to solve this particular problem. There's something you wanted to do. Another just indicated that lunch has arrived. So maybe let's close with your DG, and then we'll just thank AG. We'll allow you to eat AG before you leave. That's how much we appreciate your contribution, Kabo, and the team. DG.